taking every piece of property they can get their greedy hands on, and forgetting that we, the people, are the genuine engine that drives the economy, and not the 1% that currently are trying to possess everything in the world. This is not a local problem. It's not a state problem. It's not just a national problem. This is a global problem. And even though there are few of us, even though this crowd is small, our voices are now part of a chorus that is growing across the globe. We're sick and tired of losing everything we have to the banks, and we're not going to take it anymore. We are not going to take it any longer. What is being done is morally reprehensible, and we can build a brighter future with green jobs. The way to the future is no longer the automobile and fossil fuels. The way into the future is with windmills. It is with transportation systems that do not destroy the environment. We can rebuild power grids. We can put people back to work, rebuilding a country that is indeed better for our children. This is about the future. This is about taking control of the future instead of allowing the banks to continue bad policies of the past. It's time for change. Thank you.
Complained about the noise, they complained about the chalk on the sidewalk, and I talked to somebody about that this morning already. You can't deface the sidewalk and there's chalk, that's how you do criminal mischief. That's a problem.
Which ordinance is that?
Criminal mischief. Okay? So what I need you to do is if you're going to continue to drum and things like that, we're going to have to act. I don't want to do that to you. I just want you to understand that the businesses are complaining. I would strongly recommend you want to go back across the street. That would probably be a better idea. You can continue to do what you've been doing for weeks and have no trouble.
Well, there's a wedding going on there.
Over where? At the courthouse. Just letting you know that people are complaining. So if they complain, we have to act. You've not gotten anything from us since you've been here. And I don't, you know what I mean? You have a constitutional right, but there is certain things. You can't have loud music, loud noise. You can't block the public thoroughfare. You can't block the entrance to the business. You have to be a certain amount of feet away. None of that's really been acted upon because nobody's really complained.
How many feet do we have to be away?
Know it off the top of my head, but you can't block his business.
But we're not blocking any doors.
This is a lot.
Well, we could just move.
No, wait a minute. We don't need to move.
Furthermore, there's a
Mic check.
you look at like the sign
Mic check.
in the street there. They consider almost half.
The businesses
Look at the common sense aspect of it. Somebody's driving.
don't want our noise.
They have complained
They have complained
to the police department.
to the police department.
So we can move across the street, or we can march. March. Let's
Thank you
march.
very much for your cooperation.
Oh, okay. We got that video. Good.
You can't be heard within 25 feet away.
25. Can't be heard at all.
Within 25 feet. 20, that's the law. I'm telling you.
I mean, I can shout louder than
I
that.
understand, and loud speaking falls under that ordinance if it's disturbing. We're not trying to. I'm not trying to press you.
I understand. We're
I'm
just
trying to give you
figure out where
information.
the line is.
I'm trying
on
to
what
give you
we can
information
do.
to allow you to continue to do what you're doing, but
And
doing
we
it
appreciate that.
theoretically, the bullhorn is.
Too much.
I want you guys to be able to get your message out,
Okay.
but there's guidelines that have
You
to
look
be followed.
really nervous over
And
there.
that,
I will hold
you know,
the
I
phone.
want you to get your message out, but you just have to be careful about what's going on because people are complaining, and once people start to
But we're
complain.
complaining, actually. We're complaining about this whole system. That's the
Talking to
point.
the protesters down here at Courthouse Square on fire.
So there's a wedding in the courthouse?
Yeah, in
Is that
the
why we're
old
not
courthouse.
Yeah, I'll explain to you in a minute.
See, what I'm trying to get, the point I'm trying to get across is that this is also a complaint. It's a people's complaint about what's been happening in our country and the rest of the world.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we're making a complaint, and maybe that could be enforced.
Well, your complaint, I don't have the ability to enforce your complaint. The only thing I have the ability to do is enforce the laws that are in place for my area and my city.
And see, that's actually one of the problems that we're identifying. Nobody's enforcing the people's complaint, right? Instead, they're enforcing the 1%'s complaints. The 1% can do whatever they want with impunity, and we can't even raise our voices or put chalk on the sidewalk.
Well, I don't know how to put this to you. If the 1% were raising their voice and putting chalk on the sidewalk, I'd be saying the same thing. So, the case,
I know it's not your fault, but I'm just also trying to suggest that what we're doing is raising a complaint. This is the people's complaint.
Once again, I'll reiterate the point that your message has been heard here in Dayton rather well without much fanfare. And I don't want the fanfare to come on you. Like I said this morning, I don't want you to garner too much of attention from us because when that occurs, your ability to get your message out and get it out peacefully and with cause then turns it just becomes confrontation. It's not something we want under any circumstance. We want you to. It's a beautiful day. We want people to be out here.
We weren't being confrontational.
I know.
We weren't being unpeaceful.
Right. I mean, there's lots of things. You know, the signs out here, the signs in the roadway. That's a common sense approach would say you can't jut a sign into the roadway. If you cause somebody to read your sign, it's not like NASCAR when they're going 100 miles an hour and they stick a sign up there and says go to the pits. These people are driving, and if you take their attention away from the road, you're creating a hazardous situation.
Wouldn't billboards do the same thing?
That is correct.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. But a billboard sits there and basically is just posted. If somebody's driving along and they go and they stick the sign out in front of them, you know.
Yeah, but I don't think any of our protesters have done anything like that.
Well, I've seen that myself.
On day one, somebody got a jaywalking ticket. That's the only offense.
Well, only because somebody in a car asked for a flyer and they stepped into the street.
Oh,
So
okay.
you guys, take a common sense approach to all of it. The police will leave you alone if you're keeping the kind of thing, keeping a profile where you get your message out, but you're not invading anybody else's privacy. You're not breaking any kind of laws for loud music, blocking the sidewalk, defacing public property. If you're well within your guidelines of the law, you're not going to hear much from us.
Now, I'm curious about the ordinance on the chalk as well, because I remember urban nights when the whole street was chalked, and I don't think
ma'am. I'm
anybody
telling
got
you,
arrested for that.
nobody's going to get. Ma'am, I'm not trying to arrest you.
Right.
It's not why I'm here.
Right.
I'm informing you of what the law is. And if you choose to go with it from there and you choose to act, that's that. It's criminal mischief. It's doing something that's not property you own.
It's a public
Yes, it
sidewalk.
is, because I pay taxes, so it is my property.
Ma'am, that's the city of Dayton's sidewalk.
And I
all
pay
right?
taxes to the city of Dayton.
You can't deface. the
It's
city.
art.
Ma'am, you can't without permission of the owner, you cannot deface.
Who's the owner? The owner
But I
of the
thought we were
people.
the owners.
Are we gonna
Yeah,
split these hairs? Are we gonna do that?
But that's.
Can we ask permission from the owner then?
I mean, that's why we're allowed to occupy this public spaces because it's a public
That's
space.
not a public space. That's a private property.
And it's owned by the county.
That's private property owned by the county. That's not a public space. It's private.
Can governmental institutions own private property?
Absolutely, it happens all the time. The safety building is private property. You know what I mean?
It's not owned by the taxpayers?
So then who could we speak with for permission to be able to ride on the sidewalks if it has an owner?
City Hall, apparently. I'll go down there
City Hall,
Monday
yeah.
morning.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen political candidates do the same thing.
Just occupy any elected official's office, City Hall.
Yeah, we
sorry?
talked about this already, Ted.
What was that?
Occupy City Hall, elected officials' offices, and let them know what's going on here. And apparently the people have no ownership over public property anymore, which is the entire base of this protest. And we're being informed now that not only do we not have the right to free speech, but we no longer have the rights, any rights, to our public property.
Yeah, I guess we just heard told that government buildings weren't owned by the people.
Yeah, no, they're not. I know the Federal Reserve
Is the government the people, or is...
For me to
That's
sit
what I
out here and
had
have
always
this philosophical
assumed was that
conversation with you.
if it was...
Or was the government another entity ruling over the people?
I thought the people were the government.
That third time today that somebody's called.
No.
Yeah, that was like very, very
We
loud.
don't ever come here unless somebody calls.
That's what they tell me.
Why did they call? What other...
Last
what
time
other-
I came this morning because somebody's complaining about the chalk on the square. We talked about that this
On
morning.
the square or in
Both.
front of Chase?
Both.
Okay.
Both. The second call was about that.
Okay.
The third call was about you being in front of his business. Okay. Letting you know.
But when you came down here, did you see that we were blocking?
I didn't see that you were blocking. I saw that the drumming was going on.
Right.
I saw that people were very near the curb with signs that were, partially into the roadway. I did see that. Those are the things I saw. I'm not trying to prohibit you from doing your message.
No,
I'm trying to
we
help you
understand that.
get your message out legally.
Right.
And we're trying to figure out what we can do,
Open
what we
communication.
can't.
Every day with you guys. Every day we find something
you're
new.
saying that we need to get a permit.
I mean, we've been doing this for 30 days now with chalk on the sidewalk, and now today it's a problem.
Well, then, if we have to approach
This
the
happens to be
owner
on
of the space, that would be the city, right?
For all 3 days or so?
And the city is an entity that's paid for through our taxes, correct? So aren't we actually the owners?
Ma'am, do you really want to go here with me? No, you're not the owner. Okay.
Well, I would say that, no offense, sir, and with all due respect, you're not a Supreme Court judge on a federal level.
No, but I
You
know
have
that.
no
But I
call.
know. But I know that if probable cause exists that a crime is being committed, we have to act. So that can be judged later.
Well, right, but let's look at, are you serious with all the problems in Dayton? You're going to hassle people about
You think
sidewalk
I'm
charges?
hassling? I'm answering a complaint.
Well, no, I get that, but personally, aside from all views, and I'll hit stop on the record right now, would that be your personal choice is to hassle somebody over?
My personal choice does not intervene in how I do my job.
Well, right,
whatsoever.
but that's not the question that I asked you.
I'm not going to answer that because it's not
He can't answer that.
relevant.
He's working. He can't answer that.
I'm not going to answer that for you right now. It's not relevant. My personal choices have no bearing on what I think.
So if you were told to, say, disarm the American people and violate their Second Amendment rights, would you do that? If it was a lawful order given to you by...
If somebody's given me a lawful order, I follow the lawful order, sir. That's what my job is to enforce law.
Right.
Okay?
No,
whether I choose to, whether we can sit and talk about my personal opinions about you chalking the sidewalk, that's not
I
mine.
didn't.
I'm just saying. I'm not gonna. It's not relevant to why we're here. I'm here to help you get your message out legally. I'm trying to help you.
No, I
don't think you understand.
understand that. No,
I think
I do
that you
understand.
I think you guys want me to tell you something you know you can do that you can't.
Well-
There's a fine line between chalking the sidewalk. It's defacing public property. When it rains, yes, it's going to go away, but there's still the law. The law is the law. I don't want to see anybody violate the law. I want you to get your message out.
Yeah, and truthfully, I had no idea that it was actually against the law to put chalk on public sidewalks. I had no idea.
Actually, there's been political candidates in Dayton. David Savarati, when he was ran for city commission, I think last time, chalked all over the city, and was not, from what I know, nothing happened to him because the chalk was temporary and didn't fit the definition of
and even
defacement.
during urban nights, there's chalk art all over the sidewalks and the street, talking about urban nights. And to me, it really seems more about who's making the complaint.
That's exactly correct. If somebody complains, we have to act.
Right.
You're never going to hear a word from us if nobody, because I'm not going to this is not one of those laws like somebody's out here beating a little kid that I'm going to intervene on something else. This is something where somebody is complaining. We, look at both sides of the fence. It's a common sense thing from my viewpoint. I'm a common sense guy. Okay?
No.
And the people that are standing here are common sense people.
I believe that.
We will use
I'm
it.
voting no on issue 2, by
I
the way,
appreciate
because
that.
I support you.
I appreciate that. The point is, common sense has to prevail. If somebody calls and says they're doing something and legally it's not correct, I have to intervene. It's just the way it is.
So let's go down to City Hall Monday and
guess what? Let me give you another little hint. Everybody that comes down here and you say honk if you agree,
Right.
it's against the law for them to honk. When there's no emergency, you cannot honk your horn in the city of Dayton. It's a violation of the same
But since no
noise
one's
ordinance.
complained about that, then it's okay.
Yeah.
I got everything.
Honking your horn when
Well,
no
no.
emergency exists is a violation of the
So
law.
what if someone cuts me off in traffic?
If somebody cuts you off and you're about to have an imminent accident, it's different. But if somebody already has cut you off and there's no imminent danger anymore and you just lay in your horn because you're mad at them,
But what's the enforcement like on something like that, realistic?
it's an $88 ticket.
No, I mean, what's the realistic enforcement? If you see a car and you're on patrol and they honk for notably an unreasonable reason, are you going to pull that car over and cite them?
I could.
You could, but do you? We're talking. Well, no, I'm sure you could figure it out.
That's right.
But
I'll give you a perfect example of when I wrote somebody a loud ticket for blowing their horn. When we had a fireworks show down here one year and traffic was at a complete gridlock stop. You couldn't move. We were directed traffic and you had to let some go and some not go. Guess what somebody did? They sat in the middle of a traffic jam and just blew their horn. What do you think I did?
You cited them.
Because there's no emergency.
Right.
There's no imminent danger.
But you see a difference between that and someone
You see what
honking.
I'm saying? I'm just letting you know. I'm trying to help you understand.
Well, no, I get it, but I'm trying to do the flip side of when do you actually enforce? It's like the
It's my
men
discretion.
can't walk on the left side of the sidewalk law that's still on the books in Ohio because it's not
Police
right.
officer's discretion.
Right. So I mean, we're talking about old laws that may or may not
Laws
be
are laws.
enforced.
Laws are laws.
So who am I here with?
Do you guys need my legal name? I can't remember.
No, you don't have to.
Awesome, MSN.
Amson, okay. Now, the cops across the street asked you guys to leave.
They did.
Why did you guys leave so easily?
I did not leave. I stood there and talked with the police
That's true,
officers.
you
I
did.
don't know why everyone else left.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you think about that?
I think that they probably should have stuck around for a little bit longer, seen exactly what the issue was. If they had any legal reason to leave, and make a decision from there. Like if you're committing a crime and don't want to be taken into custody, then I can understand leaving. But you don't have to do something just because someone asks you to do it. Especially not if they're asking you to stop doing something you're doing for political reasons, like protesting. You're going to step on toes when you protest. That's why we do it. That's the point. So I don't know why everyone just walked away. I really don't.
Do you guys see yourselves approaching Dayton City Commission?
I know what
about the
I'm
situation?
going to go to the City Hall building on Monday and try and figure out, because I was informed that these sidewalks have ownership. Somebody owns the sidewalks.
They said the Montgomery County government
Well,
has
Montgomery
private
County
property.
owns Courthouse Square's private property, and that the sidewalks.
But the Montgomery County is a governmental entity. How can a governmental entity
I don't
own
know.
private
That is what
property in the
confuses me.
public?
So, the county hasn't said that we have to leave yet, but apparently we can't ride on the sidewalks of the city of Dayton.
Even though the Downtown
So-
Dayton Partnership can.
Yes, so I'm going to try and figure out who exactly it is that owns them and whether or not I can get permission.
That would also probably suggest you get in touch with a constitutional lawyer.
One of those would probably be handy before I go down
Yes,
there.
because oftentimes the government officials themselves don't know the statutes.
Well, I do have a pocket constitution, not with me. We have a box of them back there. It's awesome.
Well, they've also got like a gazillion other statutes, like city ordinances,
Yes. Yeah.
different things like that.
I don't think we can have pocket-sized versions of those, not without magnifying glass.
Yeah, you gotta go online to get them. They're like in very long PDF files.
Yes, I know. It makes me sad. We need a copy of that down here, though.
But will we see anybody at Occupy Dayton getting involved either through a protestation or running candidates in local government?
I do not know. I have heard a few people say that maybe by the 2012 elections we will have every camper down here sign up to run for some office and just try and fill them all. I don't think that plan will work, but it would be hilarious.
So why did you leave the bank?
Because at the moment, I think, like, well, basically, you know, he was giving us the spiel or whatever, and I don't think that, you know, we weren't prepared, I guess, is probably the best, you know what I mean? Like, it was the first time, like, as a group, we've been approached like that, you know, and just like, you know, you're breaking all these laws, and, you know what I mean, stuff like that, so, so, you know, like, we took the consensus to march, to stay, march, or come across the street, you know, and so we marched to Democratic headquarters.
Are you guys going to be, has the treatment from, I've had a couple of people who said the treatment from the police has not been as great recently. Is there any, have they been trying to pick on little things like that?
I think, like, all that I know about is the whole sidewalk chalk thing, and then what happened today. But yeah, I think that, you know, for the most part, it hasn't been. But, I mean, you heard the guy. You turn up the heat, we'll turn the heat back up on you or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but